choose women that choose you. I tell guys that specifically, like date women, right? Like don't commit, let the cream rise to the top, vet them for red flags, as I talk about in my book.
Why
So,
is that? Why, what is it like just from the male's psyche that makes you want to commit or only willing to commit with a woman who's never been promiscuous in her past?
well, it's disgusting. That's the thing that women never seem to understand, and I don't think they ever will understand. I did a survey once on social media, and I used the example of identical twins. I said something like, "Man, you have the example of two identical twins. One is they're like 33 or something like that. They're 33 years old. One was married for 10 years, married her first love, has a notch count of one, two children from the marriage, and she's divorced now, looking for love. The other one is her identical twin sister. They look exactly the same. She spent, the last 33 years of her lives traveling, working on cruise ships, being promiscuous, going to nightclubs. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas and has an unknown notch count of 50 plus. Which one would you invite into your life for a long-term relationship? And as you know, if you've read my book, there's a chapter on why I tell guys to try to avoid single mothers because of the complexities that are
Hmm.
involved in that. So it's my
Hmm.
opinion that that's a big red flag. But the vast majority of men, because they're so disgusted by promiscuity, would rather be with the single mom with a notch count of one.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So it's
Interesting.
just inherently built into us.
Like a
There's a
natural
lot of reasons
disgust.
why. There's a lot of scientific reasons why. But just like women get the ick from losers, guys that
Yeah.
are not competent, that
Yeah.
are boring, that are not influential, that
I
don't
get
have
the ick from the
money,
dad bod.
from the dad bod, from whatever it happens to be. Like women get the ick from that.
Yeah.
Men also get the ick, but the ick that men get is from promiscuity.
Hmm. Interesting. How do you think that women who are still single, never been married, somebody like myself who's looking for a long-term partner, someone to start a family with, build
Mhm.
a partnership with, how should we be going about sex with men that we meet? We like this guy. Oh, I want to see where it goes. If this could be the
Yeah.
guy. There's all this debate about sex on the first date or no, do a 90-day rule. Or what's your opinion on how we should go about that if we want, commitment from this guy?
I mean, if you're a virgin, of course, hold out for marriage, right? But if you're not a virgin, you can't hold out. You can't
Hmm.
you can't ask a man to pay more for something that you've given away for free. You can't say I have an 8 date
Yeah.
rule or something like that, or I'm only going to like give that to you after like 3 months or after you've given me a ring or something like that, because you've
Hmm.
given it away for free to other guys. And that's again another thing that gives men the ick is like, why did all of these guys get it for free, some on the first date, when I have to be the dutiful beta me now and wait for, 9 dates or 3 months or something like that, or until I buy her a ring.
Hmm.
That's not a good strategy. You women can't really hold out at that point.
Hmm. So y'all don't see it as like,
I'm
oh,
not
well,
saying sleep with them on the first date, Nat, but I'm also saying
okay.
don't make the dude wait like 3 to 6 months for it, right?
Hmm.
Like date him for like a few dates, see what he's made of, sort of thing. Like, um, and from there you'll have to make an educated guess on, so whether or not this is the kind of guy that, you'd like to ask for his commitment. And I don't think that like one of the things that I think women get wrong today is they often wait for a guy to ask for her commitment. And I think that it's
Yes.
incumbent on the woman to ask for his commitment, right?
Hmm.
It shouldn't be the other way around. And I tell guys that, specifically, like I'll tell guys date women, right? Like don't commit, let the cream rise to the top, vet them for red flags, as I talk about in my book. And then when they start indicating strong choosing signals, like I've said this before, I can't remember where I got it from, but choose women that choose you, right? So don't chase
Sure.
the gal that's indifferent. Don't chase the gal that takes long to respond to you. Don't chase the gal that's like, oops, I fell asleep last night. I'm sorry I didn't message you like I said, or, whatever. Forget them. That
Hmm.
chase women that have already chosen you and then make a decision from that.
Yeah, I actually had a guy on last week. His name's Chandler, who, young guy, he's only like 28, but ha seems to have a really good head on his shoulders. He said something similar that women typically choose like the relationship, like they're the ones choosing you. Um,
Yeah,
but
so men are the gatekeepers of the relationship and women are the gatekeepers of sex. Like women decide when sex happens, right?
hmm.
It's not our decision. She's going to give her body to me when she feels that it's appropriate. Could be on the first date, could be on the fifth date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas guys need to be the gatekeepers of the relationship. They shouldn't just invite the first girl into their life that touches their pee-pee. But that's most men's sexual strategy is, she
Yeah.
responded to my text and she touched my pee-pee, so I'm going to marry her now, right? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to think about that one, pal.
Sure. I had a guy on a while back who actually said the opposite about women asking for the commitment. He said that it could push a guy away essentially because it takes something from the man. It takes that initiative away from him, like the ability to say, "Will you be my
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend?" And that
Mm-hmm.
might feel emasculating to him. And I was kind of like, I was just that was the first I'd really heard something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I don't know, is that something that's just different per each guy? I mean, what do you think about that?
Could be culturally for him, could be like a religious conviction that he holds, but as it works and as it works well, it's better for a woman to ask for his exclusivity. Now,
How would we go about doing that?
hey, Rich, I dig your vibe. Where is this going? I don't want to share you. What are we? I'd like to have a family one day. Where's your head at on all this sort of thing? Like that's, like some version of that, right? Like the talk.
Okay.
Now,
Hmm.
from the guy's perspective, for any men that might be watching this, that's when you have to look at her and be like, interesting. I like the offer. Let me examine the offer, sort of thing, and decide if it's something that I want to take on, take the
Hmm.
burden of on. And that's why you should just date, to see what she's made of. That's why you got to see, what happens with her when somebody says no to her. Like when you say no to her as a man, like when like a real test of a woman is watch what happens when she doesn't get her way. Does she have a complete spaz and a hissy fit and call you you're not a real man or something like that? Or,
Mm,
does she just accept it, with some
mm,
grace and poise and, aim to be better or maybe get curious and say, oh, well, what could I do to turn that no into a yes, maybe, sort of thing.
mm.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one on one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.